Is that on? Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Ryan with American Mobile Training Solutions, and we start the day off with the first of like 8 videos in the series for our Fundamentals of Marksmanship. And today we start with what I consider the very foundation of marksmanship, which would be your stance. And we're going to cover just standing today in the different positions that you can utilize while standing. And this is applicable for rifle, shotgun, and pistol. We're going to show you with the pistol today. I have what we call a rubber ducky, but this is your stance, and it's presented by American Mobile Training Solutions. It's going to be a quick 10-minute kind of overview of the stance. And so, just like I said yesterday, whether or not you're a 20-year veteran of the shooting sports or you're just a beginner, I hope that you find some information on this useful. And so we'll go ahead and get started. Ashton's going to be helping me again today, so thank you very much for that, Ashton. And we're going to have a special model today, Mr. Dustin Stiro. So if you're watching this, this is from one of our old PowerPoints that he graciously let us photograph. So just in case you guys are just joining us, remember we're a veteran-owned small business. We provide use of force training, active shooter training, emergency response training, emergency operations plans, various other things. Since 2013, we have a single mission to provide the best training for you, the most up-to-date information, and the best policies that you can in place for the safety and security of you and yours. Next slide, please. Also, a disclaimer, remember that we're only recommending these things as far as the fundamentals are concerned. Please always rely on applicable laws for local, state, and federal laws that are followed. Comply with any city ordinances concerning firearms, discharge of firearms, practice of firearms, anything like that. And we take no responsibility that if you view this content and then go out on your own and have an accident of some sort, we don't take any responsibility for that. If you were under our direct supervision, that would be totally different. This is for informational purposes only. Informational purposes only. So now that we got that out of the way, next slide. All right, so fundamentals of marksmanship. In order to create an ideal stance, one must think of the body in 2 parts. You have your upper body and you have your lower body. The corresponding movement between the two. Next slide, please. For our stance, it's not the only option, but it is what we want is a comfortable firing position. It's typically the position that your body will go to in a fight or flight response anyways. And so research dictates that when your body prepares for either a fight or a flight, it responds in a certain way, and that's what we've always advocated to instruct with, is that if your body's going to go that way anyways, you might as well train on it. So we don't do anything other than what the body naturally does. Next slide. So your feet should be approximately shoulder width apart. Your legs are going to be slightly bent, like you'll see right here. Your back and shoulder is going to be straight, but you're going to lean slightly forward. So I'm going to grab my rubber ducky here. And whenever I'm here, I'll give you a sideway preview. So if you can see, I don't know if you can, knees are shoulder width apart, or feet are shoulder width apart, legs are slightly bent. My back is straight, my head and neck are straight, and I'm going to bring the firing system to me. I don't duck, turn left or right. You'll see a lot of people go like this, go like that. If you guys have had any of the training with us, we know that talks about eye dominance. But you're going to lean slightly forward, and the reason why is because when this thing recoils, everything is about that recoil management. And so having your legs straight, your back straight, things like that brings you way back here and out. Whereas if I'm here and I've got my shoulders slightly rounded and I move up and I move down, it's much more controlled. Next slide, please. Just a different view. Next slide, please. All right, so like I said, shoulders should be rolled, drive arms out. We call it punching out. Elbows can't always be locked. Like if you can't get a lock on your elbows, you don't want to anyways. We're trying to avoid the muscle, but the idea is that whenever you punch out in straight alignment. Now, whether or not you can keep your arms straight or they have to be slightly bent, that's up to the individual person. But it should form a triangle, the isosceles position, and so it should look like this, where everything is a triangle and everything is lined up. You should be at what's called your natural point of aim, if I've done everything right. So just like everything with golf, basketball, baseball, where your belly button goes is where the ball's gonna go. Same thing for firearms. Wherever I'm at here, that's where this projectile is gonna go. Next slide, please. So as you can see, it should look like that. Dustin's big, huge, long gorilla arms notwithstanding. Next. All right, so can you back up one? I want to make sure I covered everything on there. Okay, yep, go ahead. Thank you. All right, so again, here's another view with a rifle. So it doesn't just have to be with pistol, you can do it with rifle. But the same fundamentals apply. I couldn't find any pictures of me with a shotgun that I'm not hunting in, and it's awkward positions, so have to forgive me for that. But you can see my feet shoulder width apart, knees slightly bent, my back and neck are straight and in alignment. And I've brought the the weapon system up to my eyes. You can do different grips. We'll talk about grips tomorrow, I believe. But it's leaning slightly forward, and again, that's to absorb the recoil. All right, next slide. All right, so the way that we talk about this, you got to think your body is two parts, right? So the lower part, think of like a tank, and your lower body is your tracks, and your upper body is going to be your turret. And so we have this thing called the Groucho walk, which works really great forwards and backwards. If you ever heard of Groucho Marx, look him up on YouTube, you'll see how he walks. He walks, and I don't think you can see it here, but he walks just like this. Right? But the idea is whenever I'm right here, you can see that there's no movement, very little movement, right? Whereas if I'm walking and I'm up straight, there's a lot of movement. So the Groucho walk works for us when we're moving forwards and sideways. When we're going left or right, we have to turn our tracks. Okay, we can only go so far before we start crossing over our feet. Causes falls, causes a whole bunch of issues, and so we have to turn our tracks so that even if I'm going down this way, I'm turning my tracks so I'm walking straight, right? Or I'm going this way, I'm turning this way. I'm not going crossing over my feet. Groucho walk. All right, next slide. Upper body posture, just to, again, this is a different grip position, but back should be slightly forward to absorb the recoil of firearm being discharged. Shoulders should be rounded to tighten the movement left or right and to assist in absorbing that impact from the firearm being discharged. And then neck should not be brought down. So what we shouldn't see is any of that stuff. And we shouldn't see left or right or anything like that. We shouldn't see this. We shouldn't see tucking the chin. It should be brought up to us, right? Up to our eyes. Next slide. You guys have any questions, feel free to annotate in the comments. I don't know if there's any comments. I've been up here. I'm normally looking at it. Do we have any comments or anything?
You had some funny gifts on recoil management.
Oh, okay. I'm sure. All right, so the upper body is your turret. And so if you think of a turret on a tank, you know that it operates independently of the tracks, and that anybody that's been in a tank, you have to operate them separately. And so the upper body can only go so far left and right before I get out of my natural point of aim. I can only come over here so far before I'm using muscle that I have to push or pull. And as we know, muscle fatigues, muscle fails. We want to stay away from using our muscles. We want to use natural point of aim, and we don't have to use muscle. I don't have to muscle around here. So the idea is, and I'll go down here, whenever I get to a certain point, I have to turn the tracks, right? whenever I get to a certain point over here where I'm starting to push or pull, I just need to turn the tracks. And then I align myself with my natural point of aim. If you guys have ever taken a class with us, you know the main thing that we discuss is reflexive fire or defensive fire, right? Where we're not on a target, we're not on the range, we're not doing target shooting. This is real life, actual, what's going to happen in the event of an emergency, like you have to brandish your firearm. You're going to have reflexive fire. If you don't have your natural point of aim, I may be aiming at this picture right here, but I'm positioned over here and I have to draw, and whenever I draw out over here, it's not going to be as good. All I have to do is hit this. But you'll be surprised how many people miss it, right? Versus a natural point of aim, when I punch out, I draw, I punch out, it's right there. I could definitely hit an 18-inch tall, 20-inch wide, whatever target. Let's see. Got that. All right, next slide, please. Okay, so that's the quick overview on stance. Obviously, there's more than just the standing. There's kneeling, there's prone unsupported. There's all sorts of different positions. And obviously we go into that in our other classes, in our actual class. This is just an overview for 10 minutes or whatever. And I appreciate you guys joining us, you guys and gals joining us. And if you have any questions about the fundamentals of marksmanship, if you would like to have some private consultation with that, we would love to be able to help you out in any way. Even if it's just a question, feel free to message me on Facebook. We'd love to hear from you. From our poll, it looks like firearms is close, but above and beyond everything else, it was, believe it or not, survival skills. And so they had the most votes for survival skills, followed by self-defense. And so we're going to be working on building that. But I wanted to make sure to get this out to you for anybody that might have purchased a firearm in the recent weeks and doesn't know anything about it, may not have an opportunity to get to a class. Feel free to reach out to us and we can provide some consultation for you. Tomorrow we are going to talk about grip, and I'll have the rifle, I'll have the rubber ducky out here, and we'll have a great time with the grip, kind of in the same format as this is. If you guys would like to see something else, please feel free to reach out to me. I appreciate your time. Stay safe out there. Thanks everyone. Bye.